All right, good afternoon, traders. Today is April 15th. It is tax day for a lot of us. Unbeknownst to me, uh, Floridians in the emergency zones during Hurricane Milton are have an extended deadline of May 1st, from what I heard from the newspaper. All right, so today is April 15th, 2025. Uh, my name is John Kerrigan. I am the lead instructor here at BYOB Trading. This is the market wrap up or the trade review. Let's go take a peek at some charts today. All right, let's take a look at SPY on the 10-minute. All right, on the 10-minute chart, all right, you see the 3, that's the yellow line, is underneath the 8. So we have a 10-minute downtrend coming into close. Still have not broken the rubber band candle for this this downtrend line. Okay, notice price is under VWAP or at VWAP all day. Notice there's no break of the upper rubber band candle until the beginning of the day, and then we had one break right there, and it didn't last long. Same with this trade down, it didn't last long. All they did was consolidate all day. Just up, down, up, down. It was a sloppy, choppy, crappy day, Stu. All right, so here we go. There's a 2-hour. All right, on the 2-hour, still got a 2-hour uptrend. All right, so you got, see the 3 EMA, still up over the 8 EMA. All right, so still got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close. 10-minute downtrend coming into the close. Daily chart. It's this candle right here, and I got to tell you, it looks like a lower high. It looks like an inside day. You can see the wedge. It's getting sucked up inside that wedge right there. Okay, so there's SPY on the daily. So that's a lower high and a higher low. Closing over the bullish trap. Amazing that there's a bullish trap there. It's not much, but there is one. Closing underneath the falling 17 EMA. All right, and if we put the quad lines on this, all right, from the high to the top, that's a pretty fast drop that could bounce like a red rubber school ball. All right, we're at the midpoint. All right, so we're not in the lower third. So that puts us, all right there in the neutral zone for SPY. Take a look at the game plan for today. Take a look at it over here. All right, for the game plan, we had, well, I'll go over those in just a minute. Okay, you can see price action for today came down to the red line, never gave you an entry. All right. So you got a candle, never broke a rubber band candle down here. They just poked it, and then they never had any follow through, and from there they bounced back up to the green line. So the green line, you can see they poked it 1, 2, 3 times, came back, tested it, and then came back to VWAP. So nothing really happened. Nothing but slop and chop, okay? Whenever you see the 3 EMA cross over under the 8 EMA multiple times before noon. Well, here we are right here, okay? Multiple times before noon, all right? It's a sign you're going to get a choppy day until they have a breakout, okay? So you can see here's price action. Today's the 15th, all right? So we go up, under, over, under, over, under. Then we stayed under for a while, but then we came back over it right there. So just bad day, okay? What we did see is, all right, consolidation here, under consolidation. So that's bearish. So I hedged my long position. All right, so there's on the 5-minute. All right, so we had a 10-minute downtrend that got filled. No, we had a 10-minute uptrend right here at the beginning, and then a 10-minute downtrend right here. Okay, so quick 10-minute uptrend and then a 10-minute downtrend right here. That's all we had. All right. So the top line never got breached. The bottom line never got breached. It got spiked, but nothing really. No full candles up over it. No full candles underneath it here. Okay. SPY pivot for today 539.50. All right. And the options for today are 2 DTE Thursday options or 10 DTE Friday options. Okay. We got a short week this week. Friday we're closed. All right, so we chose the Thursday options. All right, I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. Okay, price action today, we had a 10-minute uptrend over VWAP and a 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. The uptrend didn't last long. The downtrend didn't last long. All right, it was a tight range, more consolidation up here. Nice thing is it's a bull flag, all right? So if you're a bull, you're liking this because it's holding the higher ground, all right? That is a bullish environment when price moves up and holds the higher ground, okay? So that's what we got right there. There's the SPY game plan. We are approaching a downtrend line, all right? Let me map this out for you so you can see it, okay? So there's our downtrend line. Okay, put that in one more time. Okay, there's our downtrend line. We are approaching that downtrend line. All right, we're also approaching a high up here. Okay, if they happen to break that high, all right, see how it pokes over the 17? If they happen to take out that high, they will negate the downtrend and convert it to an uptrend. All right, if they take out that high. Price action, all right, currently still in a downtrend because we're making lower highs and lower lows. We're just not moving down at this time. We're in a downtrend, but we're having a pullback in the downtrend. All right, so price action was an inside day. All right. Bull flagging right here near the end of the day. On the weekly chart, okay, you got a low here under the 17 and a low here, okay? We made lower lows. So that puts us in a downtrend on the weekly chart. On the monthly chart, okay, we made a low here. What's a big tail? All right, and then we made a low here. We're still in an uptrend because we haven't taken out this low right there. All right, so there's SPY. Monthly, still in an uptrend. All right. Weekly, in a downtrend. Daily, in a downtrend. They're close to negating the downtrend. All they got to do is get up over this, I think it's 545, 550 right there. If they get up over that, they can negate the downtrend. But they still got to deal. They might negate the downtrend, but they still got to deal with the downtrend line. So there'll be some turbulence along the way. Okay, hopefully with this big drop, quick and fast, they may shoot through it and catch on the backside of it and hopefully J-hook off the backside and move up. All right, so there's the daily chart. Just went through the game plan. Let's go look at QQQ. All right, so QQQ on the daily chart. All right, same deal, inside day. All right, buyers and sellers are agreed. Got a little spinning top doji candle right here. All right, lower high, higher low, closing over the bullish trap. Not much of a bullish trap, but there is one. Closing underneath, falling 17. Okay, if we put on the quad lines, actually we can just go right here. All right, we're no longer in the lower third, so we're not bearish. Okay, we're in the neutral zone. You go down, you give it up, that's neutral. You go up, you give it up, that's neutral. Still underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. We're just on the bearish side of neutrality here. All right, so there's QQQ. Okay, no longer in the bearish zone. Back to the neutral zone. We'll see how long they hold it there. So there's QQQ. Game plan. QQQ. Let's take a look at it on the 10-minute chart. All right, so game plan was price underneath, okay, 453.55. Okay, this is the red line right here. They never got there. Okay, QQQ pivot. You can see price action went up on top of it and then got underneath it and found a ceiling. Okay, 458.40 was the pivot. Okay, above it I was a bull, below it I'm a bear. Price entry on the top side, you can see today's the 15th. All right, it's these candles over here. All right, got some tails spiking up there, but no full candles up there. Having a difficult time. There is a lot of wicks up there. That's a lot of wicks. All right, that's more wicks than I've ever seen in a long time. Okay, it's a lot of wicks up there. So, little battle going on there between bulls and bears. Nothing but consolidation back and forth. 3 over the 8, under the 8, over the 8. You can see the 3 going up and over, up and over, up and over. Must have done it 3 times before noon. Okay, when you see that happen, prepare. You got to say to yourself, maybe today's not the day. All right, because we just keep going back and forth. It's nice when you break the rubber band candle from VWAP. That's when the trade finally materializes. Okay, so here's the rubber band candle right there. We broke it. All right, but you can see we didn't get far. All right. We just got down to this low right here. So if you'd entered here or here, you just got this much. That's it. No follow through on that. Top side, never triggered. Nothing but wicks up there. Okay. We like, again, same thing on QQQ. 2 days till expiration Thursday option because Friday we're closed. And 10 days till expiration Friday options. Okay. Fridays tend to offer more open interest. More open interest means more liquidity. More liquidity means less slippage and tighter spreads. Okay, I like options that are $10 to $20 out of the money. Seems like volatility's pulling in now, so I could probably revert that back to $5 to $10. All right, I'll take a closer look at it later tonight. I like 10-minute uptrends over VWAP. I like 10-minute downtrends under VWAP. I especially like it when they break the rubber band candle. Okay, so not much going on today. Just a fake out to the upside and then a meltdown to the low side here. Okay, QQQ. Let's take a look at, let's go look at IWM. Take a look at it on the daily chart. Okay, got a higher low and a higher high. Not much, but it is. Closing over a bearish trap under the falling 17. All right, zoom out. You're underneath the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line. You're underneath the falling 17 EMA. You're down in quadrant 1. It's still bearish. Let's take a look at Diamond Dow. Okay, Diamond Dow is, I'm just going to call it an inside day. I'm not even going to check it. Okay, lower high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap. Not much of a bullish trap, but there is one. Closing under the falling 17. That's the red dots. It would be green if they closed over it. All right, closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Closing under the uptrend line. Closing under the midpoint. Okay, not in the lower third, so it's just neutral. Again, you move up, you give it up, that's neutral. You move down, you give it up, that's neutral. So Diamond Dow still in neutral zone. All right, let's take a look at our last one, FNGA. Okay, price action, inside day, closing over that little micro bullish trap under the falling 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, still in the lower third. That's bearish. Okay, anytime you go up, you give it up and more, that's bearish. FNGA on the daily chart, we're bearish. Everybody's still making lower highs and lower lows, so still in downtrends. All right, that's FNGA. Let's take a look at our technicals, T2122. Well, we came back up to the buy zone, all right, and the bears threw us out. Okay, made a lower high and a lower low and a lower high and a lower low and a lower high and another lower low, all right. Still seem to be holding this trend right through here, though. We'll see how long this wants to hold. Okay, maybe we find ourselves back in the buy zone tomorrow. We'll see what happens. We got a short week today this week. There's not much for economic data coming out, so whoever's in control has free reign or blue skies, whatever they want to do. All right. Earnings are kicking off. That could squash a little bit of it, but all in all, there's no economic data coming out. But we do got a guy that likes to tweet in the White House, and that creates a lot of uncertainty. And I think it may be 2 or 3 months before things chill out and that uncertainty kind of washes away. For right now, I think everybody's on edge, not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow, next week, 90 days, 30 days. First we get tariffs, and then they're delayed for 30 days. Then we're going to put tariffs again, and then they're delayed for 90 days. And then we're going to put tariffs, on one country, and then no, we're going to triple it for this one, but we're going to delay this one. Nobody knows what's going on, so it's a lot of uncertainty. And with that, investors and probably, I got to say, fund managers are not going to be willing to take this back up to the highs until they have clear blue skies. All right, there is on the economic data for this week, but until they get clear blue skies coming out of the guys in control of all the lawmaking, I don't foresee price action running back up to the highs until we get some kind of certainty. So that's T2122. Let's take a look at it on the 15-bar chart, T2123. You can see price is in a coma. All right, it's a flat line. It's not moving anywhere. It's a little mini bull flag inside of a big bear flag. Okay, coming on over to this falling 200. We linger here too long, and guess what? Investors are going to give up, and they're probably going to sell off again because they don't want to be part of the next wave down. And in actuality, selling will beget more selling, and they will probably cause the next wave down. Okay, so there's T2123, still caught underneath the 200 SMA. Okay, we're not creating any gaps, all right, to be filled, all right, but we're not filling any of the old bearish gaps. We got one here that still hasn't been filled. We got one here that still hasn't been filled. We got one here that still hasn't been filled. And on top of that, we're not making any higher highs. Okay, until we start making higher highs, I got to tell you, keep your eyes on the bear button, all right? Until I see higher highs, and I'm not seeing it yet. Okay, nothing but a flatline comatose market here. T2123. 3-bar chart's going to look the same way, just a little bit bigger. Okay, see this? That's a nice V bottom. Okay, we didn't get that here. We got the hockey stick, a move down and over to the right. What happens? You linger there too long for a month, and investors start to give up hope. All right, and then you get selling begets more selling. Okay, now we're doing the same thing all over. It's going to cycle again. All right, price action into these lows. Let me tell you, there's a lot of good deals out there. With all of the inflation that we had, a lot of these companies are bringing a lot more revenue to the top line due to the inflation. If management has their act together, those profits should transcend to the bottom line. All right, which will bring in big profits. All right, big profits equals big value. Right now, things are on sale. All right, but it's not the bottom yet. All right, so there's T2123. Okay, that's a 3-bar chart, 3 more red candle bars, and a comatose market right there. Notice no higher highs. No bearish gaps getting filled. Okay, let's take a look at FNGI. FNGA. All right, still not making a higher high, still failed to fill this bearish gap made 3-4 days ago right here. Still haven't filled it. All right, we've gone through the 10th, the 11th, now the 14th, and now all of the 15th. Okay, so that's 4 days. We still haven't filled this bearish gap up here. We are leaning on the area. All right, we're acting bullish, but we still haven't made any higher highs or filled this bearish gap. Okay, so price action for today. Let's look at it. Green. Okay, notice no candles swinging up and away from VWAP. They're all very much attached. We got a little swing right here, and then price is called right back down. All right, so price kind of consolidates over it and then consolidates under it. All right, that is a bearish environment when we consolidate under prior consolidation. So we'll see what happens. They are holding the higher ground, so there is a little bit of hope. Okay, there's a little bit of light coming from the window right there. So we'll see what happens. We are up over the 200 SMA, and we're holding the higher ground. Okay, so it should be interesting where we end this week. So there's FNGA at this time right now. Okay, you can see they bought all day, and then they went and I guess they started their weekend because they had, looks like, a 12 martini lunch that they never came back from. All right, notice nothing is up over VWAP after they went to lunch. All right, let's go back and take a look at the other markets. Let's take a look at XLE. All right, XLE, I'm going to run through these pretty fast if I can. Inside day, okay, closing, I'm just going to call it under the bearish trap, under the 17, quadrant 1, that's bearish, quadrant 1, okay, and in a bear flag. All right, that's XLE. UNG, lower high, lower low, closing under the trap, under the falling 17, under the uptrend line, showing a head and shoulders. This is the head. This is the left shoulder. This is the right shoulder. This is the right arm. This is the left arm. This is the right arm. We're looking for the right arm to extend down to where the left arm is. And it looks like they're about there. Okay, price action up over this 12-month high anchored VWAP. But yet again, price moves up and gives it up. So guess what? It's just neutral. Okay, you got to get up and hold the higher ground. Couldn't do it. All right, so there's UNG. So there's a clue. Market's not ready yet. USO. All right, USO, price action for USO. Another inside day. Looks like everybody got an inside day. Closing inside the bearish trap under the falling 17. Yep, down here in quadrant 1 or the lower third, either one. It's bearish down here under the falling 17 and under this 3-year high anchored VWAP. That's a post-COVID high anchored VWAP there. Okay, not an all-time high. So underneath that 3-year high anchored VWAP right there. So still bearish. So that gas is bearish and petroleum crude oil is bearish. XLE, bearish. All right, let's take a look at precious metals. All right, gold puts in a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, closing over 3 prior all-time high anchored VWAPs. Up here at the top of quadrant 4, 2 days ago, put in a new all-time high. That's that red doji candle right there. All right, this is bullish. It's making higher lows and higher highs. That's in an uptrend, and it's bullish. It's at the top of quadrant 4. Doesn't get any more bullish than that. Okay, that's gold. Let's take a look at silver. Silver's in a downtrend. Okay, because see this low right here? They made a lower low. See this low right here? They made a lower low. See this low here and this low here? Yeah, guess what? They beat all of them. All 4 of these lows, okay, for the past 3 months, they cleaned them all out inside of 3 days. All right, they made lower lows. So they're in a daily downtrend. In order to negate the daily downtrend, they have to come up here and take out the high. All right, it's a tall order. They can do it. Okay, just going to take a while. Price action. The high there is 29.46. The high there is 29.46. So we got equal highs, higher low, closing over a bullish trap, closing over, okay, that's a 12-year high as well as a 6-month high anchored VWAP. All right, so closing over the 12-month high anchored VWAP. Price action, almost, I'm going to call it, in the upper third, so that's bullish up there, all right? Same as GLD, not quite in the same position as GLD. GLD is at the very top of quadrant 4. Silver is just now entering the upper third up here. So not quite the same, but it's still bullish, all right? Not in an uptrend, it's a pullback in a downtrend. All right, they have to take out that high. Remember, it's just a label, okay? So there's silver. Let's take a look at SMH. SMH in the lower third, closing over the bullish trap under the 17, under the all-time high anchored VWAP. Here's the quadrant lines. They're in the lower third, still bearish. Okay, this SMH, XLK. XLK is neutral. Okay, it's not in the lower third. See, they moved down, they gave it up. Okay, so that's neutral. Inside day, closing over that little mini bullish trap, closing under this falling 17, under this all-time high anchored VWAP. Let me just say, if they climb on top of this technology, we could see a change in character to the market. They have to get on top of this all-time high anchored VWAP though. And they got to hold it for 5 days or 4 days. Okay? But if they get that done, all right, they're still in a downtrend. All they got to do is take out that candle right there and they'll have an uptrend. If they can hold up there, we could see a change in character to the market. Because tech will typically be the one to lead us out of all of these pullbacks. It's usually tech that leads us out. Okay, if you see, what do they call it? Safety stocks like utilities, all right, making new all-time highs, okay, that's a warning sign you're in a recession. All right, so there's XLK in the neutral zone, coming ever so close to climbing on top of the all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, so possible turnaround is imminent. All right, again, we still have to break the comatose over here. All right, okay, so let's go back. Still neutral at this time. Let's take a look at XLF. Okay, XLF got a higher low and a higher high. There's a first for the day. Closing over a little mini bullish trap. Closing under the falling 17. Closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. It's neutral. They go up, they give it up. Neutral. They go down, they give it up. That's neutral right there. XLF. IYT. All right, IYT still bearish in the lower third. Okay, higher low, higher high. Closing under the falling 17. Closing under the all-time high anchored VWAP. That's the pink line right here. See, there's the all-time high. There's the anchored VWAP. Price action still in the lower third, so it's still bearish. All right, so there's IYT. Okay, in order for us to have a decent rally, we're going to need tech to get on board. All right, they're close. Okay, they're close. All right, still in a downtrend, making lower highs and lower lows. Close to breaking it, close to climbing on top of this all-time high anchored VWAP. All right, and we're going to need this guy right here, okay, because this is the leash that jerks the dog. And I see a little bit of hope consolidating up at the high. A little bit of hope, all right? We're up over the 200 SMA. So there's a little bit of hope right there, okay? But still having struggles after 4 days filling this bearish gap. Okay, it's kind of worrisome. Do we have another wave of selling down? All right, so very close to filling the gap, but they couldn't get it done. All right, that shows me weakness. All right, on the big caps. Okay, this is the 10 most heavily weighted securities in the SPY and the QQQ. All right, so I'm still bearish till I see these guys turn around, start making higher highs. Right now, they got little micro, higher highs and higher lows. All right, but the last higher high, it's taken them 4 days and they still haven't got it done, even to fill the gap. All right, so they're having their struggles here. So obviously, still some weakness. All right, and it probably goes to the uncertainty that's out there and lingering. All right, so there's FNGA. All right, and that's it for me for today. What we traded for today was not much. It was it's a crappy day. Just ask Stu; he'll tell you. All right, puts. We traded the puts, and that was the 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. All right, that one we could trade right there. Had some calls going, but they only gave us a couple candles, and then they bounced. All right, they didn't bounce up. I'll tell you that. Okay, so puts we did well, and that was mainly from the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP, under VWAP on the 10-minute downtrend under VWAP. I'm sorry, 10-minute downtrend under VWAP, and that was this right here. That's it for me today, traders. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hey, I want to mention our trader Imelda got, I don't know how many daily goals did you get, Mel? Is she in here? I think Mel got about 11 daily goals today. All right, she's going to say 12. All right, Mel got 12 daily goals today. Daily goal is supposed to be 1% of your whole trading account. Okay, so Mel got 12%. So she increased her trading account today, all right, by 12%. That is awesome. That's big news, okay? I'm just showing you I can do this all day long, but here's traders in the room, all right, taking the same trades or some of the trades that I take and making profits and making their stack grow bigger, all right, making their accounts grow. All right, so way to go, Mel. Mel gets the Greedy Pig Award. I will try to get that posted up on social media for Mel, all right, as well as here in the room. All right, thanks, traders. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 8 o'clock. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Don't stay up too late doing your taxes. All right, I'll see you guys all tomorrow at 8 o'clock. All right, until then. Way to go, Mel. Nice trading today. Very nice. A lot of whippiness, huh? I would say there was a lot of whippiness.